Welcome everybody. Appreciate you guys joining us on another webinar. Just to introduce myself, for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alex Nahle. I'm a real estate broker with Compass, and I run a team of agents locally out of the Pasadena and La Cañada office. Our niche is working with investors nationwide in different capacities. So basically, we're either consultants, we either find and negotiate deals for them, we do partnership opportunities, or on a mentorship level. One of the passions that I have is helping newer and aspiring investors get into this space and creating a personalized strategic plan to help them make money and achieve success. So if this is something that interests you, let's connect after this. I do want to do, a little bit of announcement of some of the events that we host. Obviously, this is a webinar. We do host two webinars every month. We also host two in-person events. For those of you that are in the LA area, we have two in-person events, one on the first Tuesday of every month and one on the last Tuesday of every month. The first one is in Pasadena, California. We usually have a speaker that comes out. This past one, we had an attorney come out and she was speaking about estate planning. It was, very, very helpful and enlightening. And then the other in-person event is in Studio City at the Laurel Tavern. That one again is at the last Tuesday of every month. They're both at 6:30 p.m. So if you're in the LA area, please stop by and join us. We'd love to see you there in person. Otherwise, you can also catch us virtually on these webinars. We usually host them on Thursdays. The upcoming webinar on February 27th, we have a real estate attorney that's going to be on. So we're going to have a Q&A. So we'd love for you to come on and also, engage in the conversation and, ask questions there as well. So there's a QR code. You can scan that. This way you're updated with any future event that we may have. And I can send the link if anybody's interested in that. I would also really appreciate it if you can go to our YouTube channel, subscribe, check out previous videos and previous podcast episodes. You can get to the YouTube channel by going to alexnaleonvideo.com. So check that out, give us support, we'd really appreciate it. And without further ado, I want to introduce our guest speakers today. We have Brigham and Brady from Main Street Business, a client of theirs. When I met them, when I learned about their services, I signed up. They're servicing one of my entities that I have. And when I learned about their services, I figured, they offer a tremendous value, a lot of helpful services that I felt that a lot of people in our community could benefit from. So I wanted to bring them on and share what they do. So thank you guys for being here. You guys are muted.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Alex, for having us on.
Thanks,
My name's
Alex.
Brigham, and I'm the business development manager at Main Street Business Services. And Brady is our lead new services rep and compliance advisor. Go ahead, Brady. Tell them a little bit
Yes,
about what
sir.
you do.
Yeah, so I work with a lot of our clients. I'm the new services team lead. I work with our team to ensure that any new clients are having a great experience, that we're able to answer their questions. And I can also head up if you have other questions outside of what we offer. We have a huge family of companies with a great network that we can provide you answers to other things as well. So that's kind of what I head up.
Really excited to be on here, Alex. Thank you so much for having us. Really grateful for the opportunity. We at Main Street Business Services, our main goal is to provide peace of mind and asset protection through expert compliance advisory for business owners and their companies, or in large part, we're working with a lot of real estate agents and their properties. And for those of you that aren't familiar, we were founded by two lawyers, Matt Sorensen and Mark Kohler, and both of them are trusted partners. Have been doing business for over 10 years, 10,000 business owners across all 50 states, and a top 1% business podcast with over 2.5 million downloads, the Main Street Business Podcast, and a significant social media presence on YouTube with Mark's channel specifically, and Matt's is growing as well. And Alex might even be able to talk more about his experience working with Matt and directed IRA and how valuable those resources and services can be for you guys. And they're partners over at KKOS Lawyers, which has been in existence for over 20 years. And so just a lot of, legal and compliance knowledge there that's really been helping business owners and entrepreneurs take off in regards to growing and scaling their businesses. So it
Yeah,
would
and
be really, valuable for you guys to follow them. Um, Again, legal tax experts and with over 40 plus years of experience in tax savings, building financial wealth, and knowing federal laws and navigating those changes that come about every 4 years, as you're aware, is pretty valuable. And they're keeping their ear to the ground on everything so that we can advise our clients on the best practices.
one of the things that's actually been causing a lot of drama lately with business owners, investors, everybody is the BOI reporting, beneficial ownership with FinCEN. And so that's another reason that you want to follow like Matt Sorensen, for example. He's leading the charge on updates with in regards to those types of reports, specifically the BOI report. So if you're on LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook, I would check them out and make sure that you're staying up to date with them. And that's also something that we're advising our clients on. So we'll talk more about that in a bit.
I want to jump in just real quick to touch on that, if you don't mind. So again,
Sure.
the reason why Brady and Brigham are here are I'm very intrigued in their business and the services they offer. They're very cool people. They provide beneficial services for business owners like myself and investors in the real estate space. And I met them through Matt and Mark, and those guys are phenomenal. They're a wealth of knowledge. I'm a client of each of their businesses as well with self-directed IRA. And I have many of my clients and people in my sphere that actually work directly with them. So I know how they run their business and how they take care of their clients. And we also have someone that from Directed IRA that was on our podcast, was on our event in Pasadena, and on the webinar. He'll be coming on as well. It's Nate Hare. So stay tuned for that if you want to learn more about what they offer and how you can benefit from the services to utilize self-directed IRAs to invest in real estate. As far as KQS lawyers, they're also, helping me structure, my tax strategies and asset protection and so forth. I know you guys will touch a little bit on that, but I did want to mention, I'm a client and I'm only sharing this because I work with them and with you guys, and I feel that it's beneficial for everybody. So full transparency.
Thanks, Alex.
Absolutely. Yeah. Hey, thank you for that vote of confidence, Alex. And yeah, I mean, we're all, when we're involved and we're we're invested in what we're doing, it's a lot more a valuable experience for sure. And my own experience of being an entrepreneur and business owner, these guys have really helped me to understand the importance of tax savings. That's so every business owner has to deal with, like for the rest of their life, and how you can save money through taxes to then go back in and reinvest that with things like the self-directing over at Directed IRA. So, how are we at Main Street Business Services elevating real estate owners or real estate investors and business owners? Is for over the last 10 years, we're advising them on their filing for annual reporting requirements. We're strengthening their corporate veil with asset protection, and we're shielding private liability and creating anonymity around their investments and being their public-facing legal representative. These are the compliance issues that real estate investors are dealing with, right? So whether it's overlooking official business structure when they originally set up, choosing to go to LegalZoom, which is just really not the answer. We see so many issues with people coming back having set up on LegalZoom. They don't have the proper documentation to do the things that they need to moving forward. And if they are ever, served from a legal standpoint, there's really nothing available other than, hey, I dipped my foot in the water to start a business to help them in those situations. So you're dealing with tenant rights and fair housing laws, constant changes and updates to state and federal laws. and and financing and security laws. There's privacy concerns around, as a business owner, as you're growing your business and investing, your name being in more locations. And so our goal again is always to limit the personal liability as a business owner that you have and hide that from the public as much as possible so that you can continue to live the life that you want to live versus being so easily subject to state, federal, um, compliance and issues, having someone show up at your doorstep that you don't want, and trying to mitigate that and educate owners on the value of setting up everything correctly from the beginning. So, why use us? So we have three different services that we provide within our memberships, and that's company compliance, registered agent, and privacy. And through the company compliance, we're tracking and we're filing, we're educating you on business resources and growth. We're tracking the BOI, we're tracking your state renewals, and we're reaching out to you about keeping your minutes up to date and your business and the potential, hidden tax savings that are there and available for you, and really bringing families and business owners together with their employees on what the business vision is and how everyone can be working together to move towards that. And, that can even sometimes turn into a family board meeting that's, like a vacation trip, right? So there's a lot of value there. And then with our registered agent service, that's really the start of privacy and when that comes into play, where we're now not just, keeping track of all the business dealings and compliance that we're doing, but now we're starting to create a shield around it to protect you personally and the business liability and asset protection so that it's starting that camouflage so people can't just come see it right away. Now, there's still holes or limitations with the registered agent service by itself. So that's why we also really value and educate people on the additional privacy service that we have, because it's really going to uphold your professional image and keep your business personal details as confidential as possible in as many locations as possible. And including like record audits and searches when you have states that are going to, be checking for legal registered agents, and you have people who might have a problem with you or with your rental or with your Airbnb or your home, and they want to do something about it. And the more net worth or the more places that your name is going to show up in public, meaning the less privacy you have, that's going to cause more issues and bring more things to your doorstep, right? So we want to help shield our members with a good protection, what we like to call the corporate veil, so that it's harder for it to be pierced and for state, federal, anyone to come in and get you. Brady, do you have anything to add to that?
I do, yeah. So I mean, all of you are going to be very well aware of a lot of the pain points, a lot of the struggles with owning a business, and especially with real estate investing. It can get pretty hairy. So where you're all familiar with those pain points, maybe you're not familiar with some solutions or what to do with those or how to simplify things. What we specialize in here at Main Street Business Services is simplifying small business compliance and privacy for asset protection. One of our slogans that we, really rely on here is peace of mind. That's really what we offer here is peace of mind for you. If we look at one of the previous slides that Brigham brought up is with the key compliance issues for real estate investors, there's so much that can go wrong. There's so much that you want to make sure that you're up to date with. And that's why, again, maybe LegalZoom is a cheaper option right off the bat, but if you're going to go through the effort to create an LLC or a corporation, you want to do it right. Because again, the whole purpose of an LLC is in the name. It's to limit your liability as the owner. You want to protect your assets that are within that LLC. You want to keep yourself private. You want to ensure that you have certain privileges or protections at the state level, whether it's with taxes, tax breaks, and write-offs, anything like that. But here's the real question is, if you're going to go through all of the effort to create an LLC to ensure your assets are protected, why are you not going to take the next steps just as serious? You should be taking compliance and privacy as serious as every other aspect of your business. It's crucial to ensure that everything you're working so hard to create for yourself isn't going to be at risk. On the slide that's up right now, I mean, you can see nearly 50% of all LLCs and corporations that are newly formed, they end up in bad standing or admin dissolved by their second year. And that's a real statistic, 30 to 50%. So you don't want to end up being one of those people because there are a lot of risks that result from being in bad standing with the state or with the federal government.
I want to
Yeah,
also add to
absolutely.
that, a lot of people end up, open LLCs in the wrong states for the wrong reasons. They're misguided. And then, I'm having conversations with them and then they're like closing them. So it's just a waste of money at times, or if they're not going to use it, they're just paying the state fees. And here in California, it can get really, really expensive. That's a great point you mentioned there, Brady.
Abs
There's a question in the chat. I'd like to point out, yeah, Alfredo asked a question. Is there a minimum portfolio size where tax strategy and their services becomes relevant or valuable? I have my perspective on it, but I'll
Yeah, so at least for us, we're able to help anyone regardless of their portfolio size. Now, I don't know if this question is relating to like I have an LLC and now I start making, over X amount of money and I want to turn that into an S corp. That there would be situations like that where we, would advise and educate our clients and members on that. Is that that's the perspective or what I was thinking there? What do you have to add, Alex?
Well, the way I understood it, it's a great question, actually. The way I perceive it is that, like, should I wait until I have a specific portfolio size where tax strategies and, such services that you guys are talking about are going to be beneficial? Do I need to have X amount? In my opinion, no.
No.
Because, based on my experience, I learned, these services and a lot of other services that I wish I knew before, because if I would have gone into legal issues, I would have been in trouble rather than knowing about them now. I'm backtracking, and yes, I'm getting things up to speed. However, if you start off the right way, and especially with a lot of these services, they're very inexpensive and very affordable. You're setting yourself up to success. So, for example, like, would you buy a house or a car without getting it insured? No, right? So, I mean, you're not even like, at least in California, you can't drive a car without insurance, and that's the same thing. This is some type of insurance. It's like protection and liability. And then as far as like tax strategy. I recently connected with KQS lawyers last year, and we're creating the trifecta and, my tax strategy complementing what my CPA is doing for me. And it's mind blowing to know, like, okay, great, I've done a lot. I have, a lot of assets and things like that, but it shows you where you are, how far you are from your goals, and what you need to do to achieve those goals, but at the same time to protect yourself. So I would say, do it as soon as you can do it. It's part of the first steps in getting into real estate and real estate investing. That's my opinion.
Absolutely. And going back, you guys are both correct. And so building on that and going back to what Brady said about, hey, when you're going to set up this LLC, which is to limit your liability, why would you then put your name all over it through the registered agent process and through the privacy or the mailing address, and through all of your documentation? You're now going to be the first line of response. And for a lot of business owners, investors, and entrepreneurs, professional image is very important, and you don't want a legal representative coming to serve you a subpoena at your business or when you're doing an event or anything of that regard, right? Or coming to your rental that you are not at all the time. So it's very important to be setting that up from the beginning. Even in setting up a new business the other day, I was going in and putting in my banking information in the new bank. It was the first time I'd done it since joining up on these services, and I got to now use a new address and use new information there for that setup so that my important banking documents are all going to be delivered and go to one location, that I can trust and rely on to be notified of important information that I need to respond to within 24 hours or 48 hours, whatever it might be. So doing it from the very beginning is important. And you can see on the slide page here now some of the drawbacks of not, right? If we're going to be your registered agent and then be doing your company compliance, then you're not going to run into losing your good standing as a business and getting administratively dissolved because you're not up to date on the processes that are going on in your state, and you're not going to have financial penalties that are coming. And you know, we see that all the time, right, Brady, with people in California just didn't know about the franchise tax, wasn't aware. And we don't do the franchise tax filing ourselves, but we educate and let our members know about that and getting with their CPAs on the importance of that. And in all states, in Delaware, you see how they have a monthly interest on that. We've had clients that have come to us and they owe, five, six figures because they've never paid those things.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, aside from a lot of the legal and operational risks with, falling into bad standing or failing to keep up with compliance, is those fees and those penalties. And some states, they actually get very costly, again, like with Delaware, where they've got that interest. I know Florida is one where if you fail to file the annual renewal on time, they immediately put your company into bad standing, and there's going to be about a $400 penalty plus, if it goes past a certain amount of time, you then have to reinstate the company, and that's more fees that you have to pay. So it does get really costly very quickly. And that's not anything that you want to worry about. You want peace of
Um,
mind, again, to focus on what you do best. Let us do what we do best, and you can focus on that and just making more money. I mean, we want to
Absolutely.
create wealth here. That's why you're here. That's why you're watching this podcast, is you're here to learn how to create wealth and how to keep that secure. So that's what we're here to do.
Love that. And yeah, so some things too that will be happening, right, for real estate investors is going to be, what happens if they sell their business, or if they need to dissolve it. That's where we can come into play too. Currently, right now, we work with KKOS lawyers on any dissolving and new entity setup. So, like I said, LegalZoom is really not a proactive solution for a serious business owner who wants to grow their business, right? Again, Alex, you mentioned about not changing your own oil, or like, let's let us be the experts, because if you're not doing this from the very beginning, then now you're going to be like the car owner that just fixes their car when it breaks down, right? And pay
Or
those
I
fines
gave
and
an
those fees.
example. I come from automotive, right? And I get it.
Yeah.
There's a lot of DIY. I love doing things myself when time permits and so forth. However, I do understand and I've seen firsthand the big costly mistakes that happen from as simple as trying to do the oil change yourself. You put the drain plug on incorrectly, you're driving, the engine blows up, and then the car's under warranty. You bring it to the dealer and they find out it's not warrantable and it's thousands of dollars. I see that over and over again from when it would have costed, something at that time was 1995 oil changes. I don't think they exist anymore. But, to that point, I think I'm in the business, I'm in business where I let every professional do their job and focus on doing my job to make more money. So that's my perspective. I don't want to keep cutting you off, but we do have a question from Billy. He mentioned, what do you mean by registered rep or registered agent?
Yes. So no, and Alex, appreciate the questions, and those are the most important things that we answer here on this call, I think, is so a registered agent is required for every business owner, entity that's set up. And if you didn't know what that was when you set it up, that means you're the registered agent, basically, right? So you're now the liable person or representative for that business and that company. Now, why would you not want to be that? Because now when I go to the Secretary of State website and I look up Anthony Guillen, I'm going to be able to see that he potentially owns this real estate property here in California, and then I can now start searching, is his, name or addresses in other states, and then I'm now able to go serve him, anything in regards to a legal process. If I stayed at one of his rentals and I didn't like the way it smelt, yeah, exaggerating there, but if there's accidents, again, you have tenant and fair housing changes happening. So the registered agent is basically the first person that legal matters are going to go to or be sent to. And so when we become your registered agent at Main Street Business Services, we take that on for you so that it's not coming to your home, not your spouse or your significant other answering the door to someone serving you a subpoena. It's not your manager or your random employee at work that is getting this notice. And so it's a really valuable service where we're able to start shielding, like literally think of a camouflage, netting or a veil or sliding closed door. And when we become your registered agent, you're able to shield, half of that in regards to what's going on in your business. So
Yeah, I mean, it simply is the point of contact for the state, for the federal government, for your business. If they're trying to get a hold of you, or if anybody wants to send you a time-sensitive, important notice or a service of process, anything like that, it is going to go to that registered agent. And so, especially if you've got multiple companies, multiple rentals, and other properties, you don't have time to be in all these places at once, and you don't have to be stressing about whether or not you're going to miss something that is time sensitive. So we're going to manage that. We scan and upload it onto a secure online portal for you. And then we notify you immediately via email saying, hey, you've got some notice, you've got important mail, you've got something that needs to have your attention on it. And then that way you can view and manage everything in one single location. It's super easy, super user friendly, and you don't have to stress about any of it.
huge benefit and resource to our members who are opening real estate properties in multiple states, right? Because again, some states will go through and they'll scan who the registered agents are, and if they find an address, I found this the other day with a guy that has business properties in Texas, California, and Hawaii, and his Hawaii address is all over the other businesses, and that is not in compliance. So again, a registered agent is so valuable in that way of becoming that legal representative for you and getting access to, really some legal advice, counsel, and professionalism at a much lower rate than you would normally.
Thank you. That was
Our
very
next
informative.
slide. There's just a lot of compliance variations across the states, right? Texas and California, again, are some of those where there's different operating agreements and propositions for compliance that are needing to be addressed. Texas requires a specific real estate clauses for their certificate of formation. And so we just want to be a resource to business owners for those kinds of things. And again, like Brady had mentioned, we have a great virtual portal that helps our members to manage all of that, upload it, and where we can communicate back with them anything that we get in the mail on their behalf for them.
One thing I wanted to add with these compliance variations, like with Alex, where you're in California, just double checking with your own info. You're aware now at this point that there's the statement of information to be filed with California, as well as that tax reporting, the franchise tax. So that's probably the most common thing I see among all of our California clients that we work with, is a lot of them, we'll get on and I'll look up their business. We want to talk about the current status of this entity, make sure that they're in good standing. And all of them are currently in bad standing because they filed their franchise tax reporting. They filed that report that's required there, but they had no idea that there is a statement of information that's due with the Secretary of State. And it varies even depending on whether you have a corporation or an LLC in each state as well. Like again, with California, the annual report for a corporation, like I mentioned, it's annual. You have to file that every year, and the fees are different. But with an LLC, it's a biannual report. So there's so much variety to what a state can require, and these are constantly changing, especially with the additions of new technologies, changes in government, or political structures, anything like that. These can change on a whim. So you want to make sure that you're up to date on what is required of you, what's expected of you as the business owner. Because again, if you fail to keep up with these requirements, you're going to be the first person that they come at. Your corporate veil is gone, and they're going to be able to come after your personal assets, especially if somebody finds fault with you. If you're, like Brigham mentioned, maybe your rental doesn't smell very nice, and we want to come at you. I'm going to pierce your corporate veil, and I'm going to say, look, not only does his rental smell terrible, but look, he has no minutes, no record of anything that's been done. He's been taking these tax write-offs for this business. how do we know that this isn't fraudulent or it's in bad standing with the state?
Correct.
He's doing everything wrong, and so I'm going to come at you.
Love it, Brady. And again, the renter or the person's typically not the one to sue you, right? I mean, I remember hearing this all the time when I was growing up was it's never your friend that sues you, right? It's their lawyer, basically, right? So and that's what's going to happen. The way Brady just described it is someone that's smart is going to look up what's going on, and then they're going to see that your name's all over your setup docs because you didn't use us as your registered agent or your privacy in setting up your business. And so they're going to see that you're all over that. And then they're going to see that your name's on the, Secretary of State website, and they're going to see that you don't keep track of your minutes, and you're going to lose professional image right there with somebody who knows what they're doing, and then they're going to come after you for it. And like Brady was saying too, there's just so many emerging compliance and privacy concerns around fraud prevention, especially with AI now and all of the things that are coming out technology wise. There's so many changes coming in with crypto and tax, and there's a lot of reason for the registered agent and privacy that's going to help keep you out of everyday fraud, tactics and worst case scenario situations that could come about and ruin your professional representation there. And we talked about it just, briefly early on. Brady brought it up about the BOI, right? So the BOI last year in 2024 was a required filing, and we tracked that the whole time on the changes to when at first they were saying if you set up a new business in 2024, you had to do this BOI report in 30 days. And then they realized that that was absurd, to ask of people. So they moved it to 90 days. And then they, at the end of the year, I think, what was it, right after Thanksgiving, they said the BOI was not required. And then they came back and said it was. And then now it's not. And so we've been tracking that the whole time.
Yeah.
And currently is not required, but we do voluntary filings, and we advise people to just file it and forget about it, because then no matter what happens from here on out, you don't got to worry about it. So
Yeah, like with the BOI report, it is funny. It's exactly what I mentioned previously with like changes in administrations or, different court rulings. Your state or federal compliance requirements can change like that super quick. And so like with the BOI reporting, as I mentioned earlier, Matt Sorensen and Mark Kohler, they're leading the charge with staying up to date on these court rulings. Currently with that, like you mentioned, Brigham, they went back and forth a lot towards the end of the year of 2024. And I believe it was either the day before or the day after Christmas that they reinstated it and said, "Hey, Merry Christmas! You now have to file this again." And I think enough people got upset, and the courts were like, "Hold up, we need to put a pin in that." So the Fifth Circuit Court of Appeals were the ones that recently made that ruling that, we're going to put this on pause, and it's subject to review right now with the Supreme Court. There's no update on that. I think that's been put on the back burner at this time with everything else going on, the change in presidential administrations. There's a lot of other things going on. So you're going to want to stay tuned to what comes of it. If you want my personal opinion, I don't think it's coming back as a requirement. But again, it's not like you're filing any information that they don't already have for your company. And that's why we would recommend if you're worried about it, if you've got questions or concerns, we file it as a perk. It's part of our membership on our company compliance service. We'll file it free. There's no extra cost with this. FinCEN doesn't have a charge. Again, it's just more peace of mind and one less thing that you have to worry about.
So Chris has a question. He's a newer investor in Los Angeles. If I were to do deals in California and out of state, what type of business setup would that require?
I'll let Brady go in a little bit more to that, but I do believe it would just depend on how you'd want to set it up, right? So, if you were setting it up under like the same business name, that you have in California, then we'd be looking at getting into foreign operations. And if you were wanting to have different names for the businesses, then we'd be getting into, doing additional LLCs under new names. And I think it would really just come down to how you want to structure it. That's where KKOS is really great on the trifecta strategy, as Alex mentioned earlier, and why, again, it's so valuable to not do LegalZoom from the beginning is because the trifecta really helps business owners to separate and plan out what their long-term strategy is and make sure that they're separating operational sides from the growth and revenue marketing sides and being able to maximize tax deductions that way. So,
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I want to point out that this is the kind of thinking that we're encouraging is growth. Chris, you got the right idea, you've got the right mindset. You're looking to grow, you're looking to get some deals in other states. Now, obviously, taxes vary the way that you'll be taxed with these different entities or these different properties, whatever assets you're acquiring. But again, to ensure that you're protected and to take advantage of certain tax advantages, tax breaks, you don't want to set up a company. Most of the time, from what I've seen working with numerous clients, is what they have is what Brigham mentioned is you're going to have what's called a foreign LLC. So say that your LLC for California is set up to hold a rental property, but maybe you're then in Utah, you get another rental property there. So typically what clients would do is they would create a foreign LLC in Utah. So it's the same exact company. The filing, the reporting, the taxes, a lot of it is just through that parent company in California. And then the only compliance requirement for a foreign is just the state filing. So again, that's where it varies as well, as compliance is different for a foreign entity than it is for a domestic. It's a lot more simple. And so a lot of it, even with the annual minutes to strengthen that corporate veil, is going to be under the parent company, the domestic, but then there's still going to be requirements for that foreign. So we can break it all down for you. I mean, if this is something you're looking to do, I would encourage you to book a call with us. We can break it down what that would look like. And then I can even get you in touch with a representative at KKOS Lawyers, and they can walk through structuring with you, what's going to serve you the best for tax advantages. And they can even help set up those new foreign entities. And then we'll get you compliance, other things. So take a look at that. If you want to chat further about it, there's going to be some links towards the end of this and some QR codes. Brigham, if you want to go to that.
I'd like to chime in on this from from an investor's standpoint. So obviously none of this, this presentation, it's phenomenal, very informative. None of it is tax or legal advice. Neither is my answer here. This is just based on my personal experience as an investor. I would highly recommend to, consult with your attorney or your CPA to see what's going to be the best for you. Because even speaking with CPA and attorneys, they have different perspectives because one wants to protect you from liability, one wants to protect you from, the best tax strategy. My perspective is if you're going to have a rental property in California, you want a California LLC. If you want to have a property in another state, you should have an LLC from that state. And I learned that as well, connecting with KQS lawyers, because when they went through my trifecta, we found one of my Pittsburgh properties was not set up correctly, and it was open for liability, right? So we were able to take care of that, and every state is different. Sometimes when you're purchasing a property as an investor, if you're getting leverage, a lot of lenders don't like to lend to LLCs. So sometimes you purchase it, then you assign it to your LLC at the end of escrow or right after. So some states don't do that. So you definitely want to, find out specifically for the state that you're going to invest in. It does, unfortunately, it is a little bit detailed, but you do want to have an LLC for each state you invest in, and then you can connect them together by having like a mother company, so everything is done correctly and for liability purposes. But again, KQS lawyers are the ones that helped me structure my trifecta to have the right entity for the right property, and then another mother entity that's going to protect me and keep it not necessarily public, because a lot of people like to go to certain states that have privacy laws, but end up doing it incorrectly. So that's my perspective on it. So I hope that
yeah,
answers your question, Chris.
Yeah, thanks for sharing, Alex. That's a great perspective, and yeah, that is one of the aspects and the value of getting with one of the lawyers, right? Is like places like Wyoming and Delaware. There's just a lot of privacy and value to potentially setting up a business there or an extra LLC there, but you got to do it right. You got to make sure it's done right, or it's just a waste. And you know, so really, we've talked a little bit, well, a lot about what Main Street does, and but really, it comes back to what do you do, or what do business owners, investors, and entrepreneurs do? And what they do really well is about everything other than small, detailed paperwork that is on the state website that they don't need to worry about. Right? Time, time is really valuable, and you guys have a lot of skills and a lot of resources to go out and grow your business and to be maximizing your time in different ways to be with your family, to and to network with other people and to just live your life. You don't need to be spending the hour or whatever the time frame is to be doing this when that same amount of time you would make double, triple the money, or you would have double, triple the valued experience in giving yourself back the life that you're wanting to live. And so that's our mission at Main Street Business Services, is to provide you guys peace of mind so that you can go out there and do that, grow your business, be with your family, be with your friends, and live the lifestyle that you're looking for, have an impact and in the people's lives that you're interacting with, and protect your family privacy and your assets and unlock hidden tax advantages. And again, like, super grateful for Alex for you having us on here on the Burr Investor webinar. And if you are needing our services, which we know you do, you definitely need them. Go through this QR code right here, and you'll be able to self-sign up if you just want to do it on your own. Or if you're wanting to, you can also schedule a call with us if you want further one-on-one advisory, and we will get with you. Brady will, be who you meet with. Yeah, we can book a free call with you and make sure that you're taken care of, and we can look into your situation personally. We can do some research on your businesses. Again, we'll be able to find your name if you're not using us as a registered agent already, and we'll see, how exposed you are, and then we can offer some opportunities, to bring that privacy into play for you and to create more peace of mind around you going out and operating your business without wondering what are the worst case scenario things that could come back on me.
Yeah, and I put in the chat there that I'm not an attorney, so I don't charge for my time. So just so you know, any consultation, any call with us is completely free. So if you're not sure, maybe you want to speak with an attorney at KKOS Lawyers, but you've got questions about compliance, other things, go ahead and book a call with me, and I can, maybe help you get to the bottom if that's a real need, or if maybe you just need some simple privacy and compliance. So I can help you break it down for you and determine, the real need for these services for your specific situation. And that is the great benefit of being able to speak with me or any of my team, is we're going to, tailor this experience to you. We're not going to get you anything that's not going to be an absolute benefit for you or your company. And the great thing is a lot of this is easy to change as well. So if you need to make updates, anything like that, we're here to help you. And again, at the root of everything, it is just peace of mind. That is our goal, is to bring you peace of mind. And we love to hear success stories from our clients, because they've got all this additional time on their hands, once again, to focus on bigger payoff things. For you, Chris, you need more time to think about whether or not you're going to go through with some of these deals out of state. Let's give you that time. Let's help you with that. So
Love that, Brady. Thanks for sharing. I agree with everything you said, but one thing.
what's up?
That is, doing the filings are not easy. They're a pain in the ass. I don't want to do them. I have no interest in doing them. It's not worth my time, so I don't do them. That's not what I do. That's
Yeah.
not.
They're easy for us because that's what we do. They're not easy for you because you've got other things going on. So
No,
that's the
right, right.
difference. It's like a
No,
mechanic
absolutely.
working on your
So
car. So
that's that's right. So yeah, just keep that in mind, guys. There's a reason why we're the experts at doing these things, and like Brady said, you just got to get with him, and he's going to take care of you for sure.
If anybody on that has any questions, please take this opportunity to go ahead and ask. Again, I'd love the support if you guys can jump on our YouTube channel and subscribe, like, watch previous videos, podcasts. We'll put this recording in there as well. It's Alex Nahle on video.com. I'd appreciate any support we can get from you. You guys have been very generous with a lot of my clients and community members. They've just gone up, called you guys, asked questions. Either they're something that you guys, a service you can provide, or you direct them in the right direction. Again, it is a free consultation, so truly appreciate that very, very much.
I do have
There's
one other thing I wanted to add, Alex, if I got a second.
Go ahead.
Also, thanks for saying your last name. I've always wondered how to pronounce that. No, but I did want to mention as well that right now during tax season, it's a busy time of year and it's also an expensive time of year if you owe. So we do have some discounts going on right now. If you want to hear more about those or take advantage of that, now's the time. Those are up until April 15th.
Nice.
Awesome. Awesome. So Alfredo had a question. We don't have a Discord per se for the community. We do have multiple platforms, on Meetups, Eventbrite, and on social media. However, I'll put my email in here. Feel free to reach out to me, and I can connect with you a little bit more and answer your questions about 203K, FHA, other construction loans that you may have questions about, and would love to connect you more as well. So that's my email there. Again, if we don't have any more questions, we can wrap it up here. I do appreciate you guys taking the time, coming out and sharing this information with us. It was very, very helpful. So until next time.
Hey, awesome. Thank you so much for having us, guys.
Yeah, thanks, Alex. Thanks, everyone.
Thank you guys. This is very informative.
Yeah,
Appreciate
thanks,
it.
Billy.
Thank
Thanks
you.
for
Of course,
getting
thanks,
on.
Billy.
Appreciate you.